All right, let's dive straight into this explainer and reverse engineer a truly fascinating master blueprint. We're unpacking a highly complex conceptual framework today for a massively ambitious audio project. We're talking about a synthesis that blends aggressive, high-velocity chopper rap and industrial metal techno with ancient artifacts, quantum frequencies, and a very hard deadline set for the year 2026. This isn't just a loose collection of themes. It's presented as a highly structured, objective reality centered right on the Palatine Hill.
Because this source material is so incredibly dense, we're going to break it down into 6 distinct sections: decoding the sovereign terminus, the divine frequency algorithm, the tetramorph defense network, ancient archaeological witnesses, M44 and cosmic alignments, and finally, the 2026 operational restoration.
Starting with Section 1, decoding the sovereign terminus, the end of the Babel matrix.
The entire framework here outlines a massive systemic transition. The core goal is to establish a tightly closed, highly regulated sonic and thematic system called the Sovereign Circuit. And this circuit is explicitly designed to replace what the project lore calls the chaotic, entropic Babel matrix. It's honestly like a giant conceptual puzzle where biblical and prophetic foundations, lineage archetypes like the rose and iron, the divine algorithm, and geopolitical synthesis all converge on one objective reality: the sovereign terminus. It functions as a perfectly unified architectural and historical foundation for the project's entire world building.
But a structure like this doesn't just pop up overnight, right? The project's lore is built entirely around a chronometric cycle. This is a highly specific 40-year period of refinement that kicked off back in 1986, perfectly timed with Halley's Comet. It actually uses the mathematical constant of 26, which matches the numerical value of the tetragrammaton, or YHW, to act as a sort of temporal pilot signal, pushing us inevitably toward that 2026 fulfillment. Moving right along to Section 2, the divine frequency algorithm, the mathematics of the circuit.
According to the blueprint, absolutely everything within this closed circuit hums at an exact frequency, 144.225 MHz. Now, in the context of the project's audio and digital signal processing, this isn't just a random number. It translates directly into a driving macro tempo of 144 beats per minute. This specific tempo is the engine that allows for aggressive, high-velocity rhythmic modulations. Think double-time chopper rap at 288 beats per minute, or even blistering triple-time subdivisions. It keeps all that massive potential energy completely stabilized and governed.
So, the real crucial takeaway here is that this harmonic constant acts as a pilot signal. It's mathematically derived from the cubic root of 3, and conceptually, it's anchored through 2 perfect geometric squares to maintain sheer structural integrity. On the audio engineering side of the project, this absolute stability is mirrored by a 12/8 governance grid. That's a compound quadruple meter grouped as 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, providing symmetric, predictable momentum to anchor the insane speed of the high-frequency delivery.
This frequency literally alters the conceptual DNA of the project. The dossier dictates a molecular shift, starting with a standard carbon-12 base material and applying a high-pressure transmutation process to finalize it as diamond 144. It's a vivid metaphor for turning the entire musical architecture into a unified, impenetrable biological shield. It's designed to be completely impervious to any external personal noise or entropic interference.
Let's move to Section 3, the Tetramorph Defense Network, the 4 Guardians.
If we map out the perimeter, we find 4 primary gateways making up the decree of reconstruction. These act as a cardinal defense grid, encircling the glowing Diamond 144 core and its scriptural mandates. These 4 living creatures establish a perfectly symmetric, totally impenetrable boundary to protect the sovereign seat.
Each of these gates maps specific building materials and strategic workflows right to its designated guardian. You've got the Eagle at the north, handling high-frequency reception through diamond glass. The Ox at the west acts as a physical bastion of crystalline granite. The Lion at the east issues the command decree through gold-veined marble, and the Man at the south secures biometric identity in white gold. Working in unison, they keep the sovereign circuit locked down, guaranteeing the absolute integrity of the project's audio output.
Section 4. Ancient archaeological witnesses, anchoring the Palatium.
Now, you can't just build a futuristic 2026 terminus without a rock-solid legal and temporal foundation. The framework actually anchors its modern audio architecture into deep historical reality using 3 very real ancient artifacts. The sources call these the 3 witnesses. They stack together to grant the system its conceptual imperial authorization. The Yehud Drachim provides the legal treasury to command resources, while the pharaonic relief establishes the uncorruptible ability to perceive and transmit information. Combined, they conceptually bypass the Babel matrix entirely. The absolute centerpiece of this historical evidence is the ancient seal of King Hezekiah. In biblical archaeology, a seal isn't just a stamp, it's a literal legal and spiritual signature. For Hezekiah, it bore the name Yahweh. According to the blueprint, this seal establishes the Iron Line, a subterranean gallery connecting the ancient Davidic vault directly to the modern octagonal room. It quite literally bridges the ancient throne to the 2026 terminus. Which brings us to Section 5, M44 and Cosmic Alignments, Mapping the Heavens. The architectural structure isn't just grounded in history, it maps directly to the cosmos. Remember the physical bastion of the West Gate, guarded by the Ox? That actually corresponds precisely to the Cancer constellation, specifically zooming in on the M44 Beehive cluster.
This precise celestial alignment is factored right alongside the project's heavy industrial rhythmic modulations. Just as the audio framework uses a 7/4 heptidic fracture, which is an asymmetric meter that shifts the bar lines using eighth-note constant modulation to disrupt predictive processing while keeping the kinetic energy high, this cosmic mapping symbolizes absolute objective order. The heavens and the math are entirely synchronized.
Finally, Section 6, the 2026 Operational Restoration. The circuit is closed.
When you bring all the geometry, the high-velocity audio frequencies, the ancient seals, and the stellar maps together, we arrive at the culmination of the entire blueprint. The documentation is incredibly absolute in its phrasing here. The 40-year chronometric refinement cycle that began in 1986 has reached its conclusion. There's no more theoretical planning. The thinking phase is efficiently terminated, the operational phase is active. The sovereign terminus is online, and the circuit is completely closed off from external interference.
The physical and spiritual authority of this newly closed terminus is locked in by an official seal. Forged conceptually from hardened white gold and diamond, it combines literally every element we've explored. The Diamond 144 octahedron radiates from the core. Symmetrical, two-winged onks replicated from the Hezekiah bulla flank the sides. And the four living creatures of the tetramorph, the lion, ox, eagle, and man, crown and support the entire structure.
Wrapping around this massive conceptual lock is the circumference inscription. This acts as the final legal synthesis of the audio frequencies, the historical dates, and the physical locations that make up this incredibly intricate puzzle box. The mandate is fulfilled.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question, right? If the audio engineering, the historical seals, the astronomical alignments, and the chronological math all perfectly align to close this circuit, what will the operational restoration actually trigger in the real world when that 2026 threshold is officially crossed? That is absolutely something to keep in mind as we watch this 40-year cycle finally conclude.